MMI Teamwork Station examples you must learn today. Hey, BeMo Nation, welcome to another episode of our One Question podcast. My name is Ronza and I'm joined by my colleague Mang.
Hey, everyone.
Now, we have nothing to sell you. It's just pure strategies and tips so that everyone has equal access to education. If you've not watched or listened to any of these before, they are completely unscripted. So there's no fancy audio or visual effects, just pure content. So we have 10 minutes to tackle a new topic each week. And this week's topic is MMI Teamwork Station examples you must learn today. I'm going to set the timer and we're set to go. All right. Now, before we dive into the examples, I think it's very important, Meng, that we first break down what is the purpose of these teamwork stations and how or what to consider to approach. To start this off, when it comes to the MMI, there's different types of questions, different stations that they're assessing different qualities in their candidates. When it comes to the teamwork one, I think it's in the name itself. They're really assessing your ability to collaborate, work within a team, obviously consider communication, being able to be organized, attention to detail, depending on, what task you're given. So there's multiple different subcategories, but the big one is how well do you work together? And why is that important? Well, if you consider yourself, or if you want to be a physician and you consider yourself a doctor in the future, obviously you're going to be working in different multidisciplinary teams. You're going to be interacting with several different individuals in different departments, and in addition to working with your patients. So it's very important to demonstrate your ability to communicate, collaborate in such a group or team setting, because that's indicative, or at least, that's what MMI is hoping, that that's going to be indicative of your future performance as a healthcare provider. Now, when it comes to things to consider, I think it's a lot of the communication pieces that we talked about, of course, like how to first break down the task, how to understand the task, but really be patient when working with other people. So, Meg, before we go into the examples that we have or that we want to talk about, what is the best, or I guess, what is a strategy in approaching this so that the student is as effective as possible and they're demonstrating their ability to collaborate within a team setting? What are things to consider? What's a strategy?
That's a good question, Ronza, because it may differ quite a bit depending on the exact task that you're given. However, general things that you do want to keep in mind, they're actually things not to do, because I find that that's the most useful advice that we can give students, is to not overpower your collaborators, your teammates in a station like this. That is probably the biggest mistake that people make, is they try to get their word in, right? They want to showcase that they're a good candidate in a team setting like this, but someone who is really good at collaborating and shows great leadership qualities by working well with other teammates is someone who is able to uplift others in a team setting and give everyone an opportunity to participate equally. So if you're someone who can do that and recognize that maybe someone else has something to say but didn't have the opportunity to, and giving them that opportunity to express their ideas, that is something extremely valuable to the person who is observing you interacting with these other people. But in general, Ronza, I think you already said it. Communication is the biggest thing. Breaking down the task into smaller components that are digestible by the other members of your group. Oftentimes, summarizing the task at the beginning is an extremely helpful thing for everyone to be on the same page and to be working towards the same goals within the time that you have, and making sure everyone agrees with that can help you to succeed in a station like this. And I think that is something you need to keep in mind in terms of what success means at a station like this, because a lot of people mistakenly think that you need to be better than the other people in that same station in order to pass the station. That's untrue. A lot of the times, everyone in that group will pass or fail that station, or do well or not do well in that station. Groups that collaborate well together tend to all get higher scores in a station like this. So definitely work together, and the synergy is going to be really important.
I absolutely agree. I think that You said it best that they think it's a competition, but more so I've heard students say, well, I want to demonstrate my leadership skills. And I think that, you know, if we tell students or give them the green light to do so, it might be done in an aggressive way that really goes to what Meng said of what not to do, right? And rushing to kind of take charge right away. Could actually intimidate the other individuals on the team. And the whole point is to get on the same page and make sure that everyone contributes to completing the task. And that's actually the best way to lead the team. So it's not directly just taking charge and saying, I'm going to read the instructions, I'm going to delegate this and this to this person. It's just making sure that everyone's voice is heard and everyone understands, they've asked the questions, and that they're communicating each depending on the tasks that they're given. So excellent, excellent points there, Meg. All right, so now there's different types of collaboration, right? This can happen in any different type of way. You know, we've seen it happen where there's groups where you're actually working together in groups. This could happen in a partner setting where you're working directly with another student, or even the interviewer at that point is acting as your partner. You could know about the task prior, or you could go in and learn about the task. So there's different ways. And I think we're going to cover some examples here of just ones that you really must learn about today that are going to help you out. So in terms of group problem solving, I think this is very big because there's many different components to it. And Meng, of course, you can just touch base on things to consider for that one, and then I'll move on to the next one. So the first one we have is, you know, you're delegated as the chief of, or you are delegated as a team member in a new program in which you have to ensure that there's a healthcare policy that will really implement universal care to every patient in the country. You are provided with resources as a team, and even as, you know, specialized access to, you know, whatever potential need that you might have or want. And you're advised as a team to come up with a proposal in 1 week. Okay, so Meg, what are key things to consider in this example?
This is an interesting one because it has a little bit of a policy flavor to it, which is kind of a different question type, but the same kinds of strategies apply, right? You can identify what pieces of information you'll need in order to come up with a good plan, and make sure everyone is on the same page about what those pieces of information are, what your resources are, and what your goals are. And at this point, you can make sure you check in with your teammates to make sure that, yeah, everyone agrees with the objective here. And then based on the information that you have or that you can find using resources, by doing research, then you can start to plan out a course of action with your team members. It's possible at this point that, you know, you could each individually decide to work on a smaller piece of the puzzle and then come together to kind of pool your ideas together to come up with a good solution. But the important thing is that you communicate throughout this process, check in with other teammates to make sure that you continue to be on the same page and that you understand the goals, and then to work in a time efficient manner throughout the process. Is there anything that you want to add, Ronza?
I do actually. You mentioned policy, and I think that's very important because a lot of times that means people are passionate about their opinion, or they might you know, have strong views for or against this, you know, universal care in itself. So I think even that you have to just be very delicate in navigating and coming up with a solution, and that you might have an opinion. And if you think that you need to state that opinion and it's going to help this task, then definitely do so in a way that's welcoming, and it's not going to dictate the pace or, you know, the outcome of this task, and allow others. And I think when it comes to a policy, it's very important to say, all right, you know, what's our take on this? And get that out of the way at the beginning so you could work together to see, you know, what people advise or what they think is important and what's not important. I think a lot of that is going to come into play for the solution component, because then that way everyone feels like they've been heard, they feel confident in the solution, and then they can work together. I think that's very important to address, especially when it comes to, you know, certain hot topics, is to see where everyone is and what they think, and make sure to have that dialogue at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
Yeah, and also when you do have that dialogue, to evaluate objectively what pros and cons are. Just because someone has a different opinion than you doesn't mean that it's necessarily incorrect. Maybe you
Absolutely.
are on the same page on some of the whys behind that. And by having that open conversation and evaluating both sides objectively, you can come to an agreement on something before moving on.
Yeah, so we have 30 seconds. Another one would be that I want to talk about is building stations or reproducing images. So one you can get is to simply enter a room and provide your partner with instructions to reproduce a geometric shape with materials and, being able to delegate or, go through each step. Another is to work together in building and completing a task. So all in all, the theme is communication, whether you're going in and giving information or you have to work together literally and build something, communicate, open dialogue, and make sure everyone's voice is heard. And that is time. All right. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Now, if you like this as much as we enjoyed making it for you, then go ahead and share it with a friend. Subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. Ask any questions you have in the comment section, and we'll see you next time. Bye.